Ladies and gentlemen, it's no secret that India's roads are the deadliest in the world. Some 9 lakh people are killed or disabled on our roads every year. That's the government's data. We often blame the roads for it. We blame stray cattle for it. We blame vehicle safety for it. But let's not kid ourselves. We Indians are rash, irresponsible drivers. We overspeed. We jump red lights. We drive on the wrong side. And we love, absolutely love, talking on the phone or texting on the phone while we are driving. 99% of the deaths on Indian roads is because of reckless driving. That's the truth. And ladies and gentlemen, this epidemic has entered our colonies and our societies as well. Residents speeding and talking on their phones or texting on their phones inside residential colonies and societies without a care for children and the elderly. The last thing you imagine is your child or your parent being run over by a speeding neighbor inside your gated colony. They are walking and playing there because this is their safe area, a place where they are protected from the craziness outside the gate. But rash drivers have entered our colony gates, and ladies and gentlemen, they are our neighbors. I hope you've taken a look at this video that I've been playing ever since the show began. This is a posh high-rise in Noida. Take a look at it carefully. A car zooms out of the basement parking. The driver, a resident from this colony, is on the phone. He doesn't see what is ahead. It's not even night, it's not dark, but he doesn't see what is ahead simply because A, he's speeding, and B, he's on the phone. What he doesn't see is that there is a 76-year-old woman ahead. He hears a thud. He then sees a crowd gather. He gets out of the car. He takes the bleeding woman to hospital. She has sustained a head injury. Unfortunately, she doesn't survive this head injury. She is now dead. Question is this a mistake or is this a murder? I will let all of you decide. And as you do that, just check in your colony if it has a speed limit, and if it does, are residents, your neighbors, sticking to it? If you do that, it could save someone's life. I'm opening up my phone lines here on Urban Debate. The phone number is on your screen, 0120-6634-616, 0120-6634-616. If you have a view on the matter, irrespective of where you live, do call us. Very quickly, before I take my first caller, let me introduce my guest to you this evening, Pradeep Rawat. He's an ex-RWA president at the India Bulls Centrum Park, which is in Gurgaon. Rekha Aggarwal is an advocate. She's joining us on the broadcast as well. She's an advocate with the Supreme Court. My first caller is Noor Ahmed, calling us from Mumbai, a city of high-rises and societies. Noor Ahmed, please go ahead.
Madam. Hello.
जी नूर जी बोलिए.
आदाब मैडम. मुझे पता नहीं लगता है कि हमेशा लोग इतने जल्दी में क्यों रहते हैं, और ज्यादातर ये हरकत जो करते हैं जिनको मालूम है कि ड्राइविंग करने को सही तरह से नहीं आता, वो जल्दी में रहते हैं हमेशा. और मुझे नहीं पता नहीं कहाँ जल्दी जाना चाहते हो, और उनको ये नहीं मालूम है कि किसी की जान लेने से एक पूरा परिवार का आपने पूरे खुशियां छीन लिया आपने. और स्पेशली रोड्स पे क्यों नहीं, हर कॉलोनी के अंदर, इनसाइड द कॉलोनी आई एम टॉकिंग नाउ, दे शुड हैव सीसीटीवी एंड दे शुड हैव अ रिस्ट्रिक्शन बोर्ड. स्पीडिंग कार लिमिट मस्ट बी सो मच, एंड ऑल्सो they should have a security guard checking in and out that which character people are, which जो जरूरत से ज्यादा स्पीड में गाड़ी चलाते हैं उनको बैन कर दिया जाए सोसाइटी से. क्या भाई आप गाड़ी सोसाइटी के अंदर गाड़ी नहीं चला सकते बिकॉज आप उसके लायक ही नहीं है. दूसरी बात, स्पीड
ओके नूर साहब,
बहुत सारी ज्यादा जगह पे होना चाहिए.
ठीक है. Okay. Noor Saab, thank you very much. Let me quickly take a couple of more callers while our third guest, Professor Rajesh Sahai, joins us on the broadcast as well. Arun, you're calling us from Coimbatore. Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Okay, now what I feel is about this rash driving. The person who was driving the car, his license should be suspended for life and he should be put into prison. That is the only way you can check on this mobile phoning while driving. That's my sincere. Thank you. No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nitin, you're calling us from Noida, where we are. Thank you. Nitin, you're calling us from Noida, where this very tragic incident happens in one of Noida's poshest high-rise societies. This is a gated community. It's within the society compound. We are seeing these pictures, a speeding SUV coming out of the basement, hitting this 76-year-old. Of course, the gentleman waits. He gets off his car and he takes the woman to hospital, but she's dead by the time she gets there. Nitin, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm calling from Noida, and I'm really annoyed and depressed to see such gory pictures on the TV. And I think there should be an exemplary punishment should be put into it. Even the RWA should be questioned. Why this man stopped was because he was right in the middle of the crowd. That's why he stopped, or else he would have run away. So, totally depressing thing. Some norms have to be made. This cannot go on like this. A 76-year-old woman lost her life. So sad to hear this.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Professor Rajesh Sahai, you've joined us on the broadcast. Please tell me, we see the madness on Indian roads. वो हम सबको पता है that Indians are reckless, awful, terrible drivers, which is why Indian roads are the deadliest in the world. We all know that. But sir, you'll have to unmute yourself. You'll have to unmute. But the hope is, Professor Sahai, the hope is that once you're entering your own gated colony, where your own children play, where your own parents go out for a walk every evening, the hope, Professor Sahai, is that at least you'll be careful inside a colony. This is a gated community. This is where the road is narrow. This is where there are people walking, playing. Your children are playing here. Any decent, sensible person slows down immediately after they enter their own society compound or any society compound. And yet, over the years, we see that decency and good sense missing. You're not just seeing it in this one Noida colony. You see it all around. I see it in my colony. You're on mute, sir. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Let me, now it is clear. Ma'am, it is clear now?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Please go ahead. Okay, there seems to be some problem. Let me try and see if we can fix that. Would you want to come in here, Pradeep Rawat? What has happened in Noida. You're in Gurgaon. I'm fairly certain it's no different in Gurgaon's colonies and societies as well.
Thank you, Shreya, for having me on this very special show. I really feel that, yes, people have to understand, especially when they're driving inside the society or where there is a gated community, there need to be a speed limit. And the problem is, nobody adheres to the speed limit. This is a responsibility of not just the driver. Even the RWA or the governing body needs to ensure that there are speed limits, everybody adheres to it. Secondly, there should be a separate pathways for the pedestrians as well. I understand this might be an unpopular opinion that only responsibility is with the driver. But I hope people understand that when we are walking on a pedestrian path, then we also need to understand somebody else is going to make a mistake. So we should be aware of our safety as well. So what I request, when I was the president of my society as well, we used to insist there should be a separate path for the pedestrians in the society. And secondly, there should be a speed limit. And moreover, there should be speed breakers as well, because those speed breakers are the ones which are going to save lives. Ultimately, you know what happens? If somebody is speeding, he may or may be driving rashly, or he may be over speeding. But if a speed breaker is good enough to stop a car running at a very fast speed, that will save lives. And ultimately what happens? A life is lost, and nothing can replace the life lost. So my humble submission to every person, whether he's on the driving seat or whether he's walking on the road or whether walking inside the society, they should make sure that everybody at least understands most important thing is life, safety of life.
Okay.
So please drive carefully. Please make very stringent rules in the society as well, and let people drive with a speed limit.
No, so most societies do have a speed limit. Most colonies do have a speed limit. For example, the speed limit in my colony is 20 kilometers an hour, which means that there is absolutely no chance of hitting anyone. And even if you do, it's going to be very slight, which means that, you know, the injury caused will not be so acute that it will result in the death of some person. You are also talking about the fact that every colony should have a separate walkway for citizens. Most colonies don't have that kind of space. Most colonies don't have that kind of space because, have you seen colonies? In Delhi, I can tell you, even in Mumbai actually, you know, every resident has at least 2 to 3 cars, and those cars are parked on colony roads. So where does a citizen who wants to go for a walk or a child who wants to play? They will play in whichever space they find. Which means if you are coming with a car inside a colony, whether it's yours or someone else's, for heaven's sake, slow down. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out, and yet you see rules and speed limits being flouted inside colonies, because of which an elderly person has been killed. And I can tell you that across at least Noida, I've seen and heard of many injuries because of speeding drivers inside colonies. Can I quickly take in 2 more callers before I come to my other guests? Osama Aziz, you're calling us from Lucknow. Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Is the literal question which is being asked that because of the accident, is it a mistake or the murder? Regrettably and most humbly, I apologize unconditionally to say it that it is a murder for the negligence and reckless driving. Because as far as colonies are concerned or the state is concerned, speed control we do have at most 40 kilometer per hour. But even on that, we can have the instant brakes for that without any injury. But here, death is resulted. Because death is resulted, no doubt, it's a major offense. So, as far as this thing is concerned, and one more important thing you good self has said, that most of the colonies do not have the space for pathways and others. Even that can be also be controlled by a speed limit. Because in colonies, we are not going to ride by 100 km per hour. At most, there would be 40 km per hour. And that can be controlled enough instantly even. As per my experience and my riding, since class 6 I am riding for that. So right now I am already VG. So as far as I know, I do not know about others, but whatever I do experience is.
You're calling it a murder. So you're calling it a murder. You're saying don't say this is a mistake. This is a murder because the person is on the phone. He's speeding. You're speeding inside your colony. You're on the phone, which means you're rash driving in a place where there is a large concentration of people and these are your neighbors. So this cannot be termed a mistake. This has to be a murder. Naval Gupta, you're calling us from Panchkula. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Shreya. Naval Gupta from Panchkula. As per Motor Vehicle Act, use of mobile phone while driving is a crime. But I have seen more than 50% of the people here, they use mobile phone while driving the car. And your mind can be on one side. Either you listen to phone or you can take care of the driving of the car. So that is the main reason. Sometimes they are going directionless. And all these reasons. So mobile while driving, mobile should be strictly banned through this CCTVs, and they should be treated under as an attempt to murder charge. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Dayanand, you're calling us from Goa. Go ahead. Good evening.
Good evening, Shreya. What I want to say here is that the bigger the vehicle, greater is the responsibility of the individual driving or owning that vehicle. We've seen a lot of accidents here in Goa in the last 3-4 months, and horrible accidents at that, because Goa roads are much more smoother. But what I see in this video, which you're showing on the television screen right now, is horrendous, to say the least. It is at a junction, and I don't know whether there are speed breakers, even if it is inside the colony, whether there are speed breakers there. We need to have regulations which are on the ground, and we need to have a slightly more civilized social behavior while driving. Most of us are quite aware of what we need to do when we are driving, but at the same time, we need some kind of protection in terms of the citizens who are on the street. Like one of your panelists said, you should have separate tracks for walking, as well as speed breakers at junctions. I think that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for calling us, Dayanand. Thanks a lot. Colonel Probir, you're calling us from Hyderabad. Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm the president of one of the gated society here, and I would like to say that they continues, telling them each and every, you have to stop them and tell them not to speed at all. And we have also put number of speed breaker within the society so that there's no chance of, speeding up. The mobile is absolutely wrong thing, but at times, you cannot stop them. And so the speed breakers are one of the, alternatives which can, reduce the speed to, and we have written at places, that not more than 10 to 15 kilometers. That's all. Is it okay?
Okay, Colonel Probir, thank you very much. I hope societies, yeah, absolutely. I hope that people, who govern RWAs are right now listening to your suggestions. Dicky Malhotra, go ahead, please. Then I'll go back to my guests. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. You see, what I'm noticing in the picture which you are showing, the design in the society itself is flawed. First of all, the driver is coming out at a very great speed from the parking lot, as you mentioned, and he's driving on the right side of the road. He's coming out and turning right. And if you see the other car we just passed by, that is also actually coming on the right side. So that means the design of the community, the design of the society roads is flawed. Rule of the road shows that the cars have to be actually driven on the left side of the road. I'm not saying it cannot happen on the left side, because there's a lady and gentleman walking on the left side as well. But first of all, the design has to be seen whether the design of the society roads is correct or not.
Okay, yeah, what you say makes sense. What you say makes absolute sense. Thank you very much for pointing it out. Rekha Aggarwal, what do we call what has happened in this video and what has happened in Noida?
See, prima facie, an offence under Section 279 and Section 304 IPC is made out. That is for rash and negligent driving and culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Much as one of your panelists said that this is straight, simple murder. Somebody from Lucknow said that. But at this moment, while the people who are seeing the video on the screen, at the moment the passions are very high, and obviously a very horrendous incident has taken place, which in the eyes of law is first of all an accident and has to be tried for the offence of an accident under Section 279 of the Indian Penal Code. So whether the driver of the vehicle was driving in a rash and negligent manner, or whether this was just an accident which happened because of some contributory negligence by the victim. So at this moment, though I do understand that, the passions are very high and everybody's enraged, and rightly so. A precious life has been lost. It is an irreparable loss. Nothing can replace that. But still, though an FIR will be registered, not every case of rash and negligent driving becomes a murder. It could be just an accident. You will recall that horrible and very infamous Sanjeev Nanda case. Though, of course, that person belonged to a very high status and was driving a BMW or an Audi, I think, and he killed so many people on the road. It was not in a colony. But yet, the person tried to pass it off as an accident, whereas ultimately he was tried for murder because he was in a very drunken state, totally inebriated, and driving at a very high speed. So that famous BMW case ultimately set the law that what really amounts to a murder and what only amounts to culpable homicide not amounting to murder. So in this case, definitely the driver of the vehicle will be booked for that. But as a lawyer, what I can say over here right now, that we have to view this whole thing very dispassionately. Let us not get carried away and blame either person, either the victim or the driver. Only once the matter is tried in the court, we'll be able to, as they say, dood ka dood and pani ka pani.
I'll tell you why passions are running high.
The driver was actually negligent. Yes.
ठीक है, Rekha ji, you've given us the position in law, and I'm grateful for you. But I'll tell you why passions are running high. Passions are running high because unlike Sanjeev Nanda, this driver was not drunk. ठीक है, he was not drunk. But if you're on the phone, what does a driver being drunk and behind the wheel mean? That he's a risk to everyone around,
absolutely.
Right? That he can cause an accident. That you are drunk, you are a risk.
Absolutely.
You should not be at the wheel, you're at the risk, right? But here's my point. How's that different? How's that different from a person who is driving at high speed and looking at his phone? That is as bad as being drunk.
It is equally bad.
Because you're totally not focused on what is ahead of you.
As bad as being drunk, because absolutely.
And therefore the question, murder or mistake? And therefore the question, murder or mistake?
Yes. Yes. So therefore, ultimately, when the matter is tried in the court, when both sides lead the evidence, when the state leads the evidence, because now this will become a state case, when the state leads this evidence and tries to make it out to be a case of culpable homicide amounting to murder, the defense is going to argue that it was not murder because there was no mens rea attached to it, there was no motive attached to it, and probably, as Dicky Malhotra said, maybe there is a fault in the civil designing of the complex, maybe there's something wrong with the road, maybe there was a contributory negligence by the victim who probably crossed the road or who came in front of the vehicle without following the civil responsibility of being careful even while being in the society. What happens is that when we're in a society, when we're in our own complex, we suddenly lose our defenses and we just walk here and there without realizing that there could be a vehicle which is coming on the road. So everybody has to be careful. That is all I can say over here.
But the vehicle should not be... But the vehicle should not be dropping its defenses and driving here and there either. Srinivas Reddy, you're calling us from Hyderabad. I'm just going to take a couple of more callers before I go to Professor Rajesh Sahay, because he knows a thing or two about how residents in Noida societies behave every time you remind them of the rule. Srinivas Reddy, go ahead. You're calling us from Hyderabad.
Yes, madam. Good evening, Shreya. Hello? Hello, good evening, Shreya.
Good evening, Mr. Reddy.
Hello? I'm a huge fan, actually, madam. Daily I watch the urban debate. I'm a huge fan of you, madam. I'm glad to speak with you today, actually. Thank you very much for giving this option to speak with you, madam. And, hello? Is my voice getting, madam? Hello?
Yeah. Hello? Yes, Mr. Reddy, thank you very much for calling us and thank you very much for watching Urban Debate. Go ahead, please. Put your point ahead.
Madam, actually, I saw this in the TV now. So it is happening everywhere nowadays. And everywhere nowadays, we'll watch such incidents and reckless driving. And earlier, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, madam, only youth used to drive very fast and reckless driving. But nowadays, everyone is driving like that only. And you can see they are killing on the rash driving, they are killing, actually there are no speed breakers also in the colony. And you can see many times they kill dogs and other animals because of this reckless and rash driving. And my suggestion is that This is Kali Yuga, and no one will listen with words. Waste of talking. And we will do many debates here, we talk here, again we'll forget tomorrow. It happens many more times like that only. It will repeat again. Strict laws are very important to restrict such acts in future. And I think
Okay. Thank you very much. All I hope, as we speak, Mr. Reddy, give me a minute here. I hope that all RWA is watching this, all society is watching this. It's very easy to access this video. Access this video and see the lessons that can be learned. And please ensure in fact that your society WhatsApp group has this video, put it there, and tell your residents why it is important to drive at 10 kilometers an hour when they are inside societies and colonies. Utpal, you're calling us from Delhi. Go ahead, please. Good evening.
Hello, I can't hear anything. Hello, I can't
Utpal, we can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So I have just seen this video, and my view as a citizen is, first of all, we lack common sense. And it's like the upbringing of the society when you are in the school. At that time, this education, basic education, where are we supposed to walk? Just look at the video. The lady is walking in the middle of the road. On both the sides, traffic is coming. People here cross on the red light. People here cross in the middle of the road walking. So we lack some common sense. So I agree, she's an aged lady. Somebody should have guided her to walk on the sideway. First point. Second point, the driver is also equally at fault. If he's talking, definitely he is at fault. And it's seen he's over speeding also. Surely he's at fault also. It seems an accident only. So that is my view, that we should first have the basic sense, which has to be from the right upbringing. Where to walk, when to cross.
You're saying both sides are at fault because it may be a colony, it may be your safe area and it may be your safe zone. But the fact is, it is not. The fact is that there are vehicles that ply on the colony's roads as well, and you need to be careful as well. Can I just get Professor Rajesh Sahai? I hope his connection is now stable. Professor Rajesh Sahai, you've heard from our callers, you've heard from our other guests as well. Can I ask you why there is such a problem in India for people to follow rules even within their own colonies? आप किसी से कुछ कहें, लोग लड़ने आ जाते हैं.
Yes.
The guard will come and tell them, please sir, slow down. You will start fighting.
You see, what has happened, I am president of a society and I am Secretary General of NOFA, Noida Federation of Apartment Owners Association. We have 73 AOAs rightly our member right now. Even in my society, I constructed speed breakers. People came to me that my car is getting spoiled. So please, you remove those breakers. And within 1 month, I was forced to remove those breakers, speed breakers. Again, we have a signboard that the speed limit is 10 or 20 you have to maintain nearby the gate or nearby the turning of the park. People are not following that. What is happening? Actually, they are driving recklessly on the road everywhere. We have not been trained in the schools itself about the traffic rules. And the authority who are the controller, that there should be a fine, heavy fine, they are also not able to control. I mean, police is not doing their duty properly. That is why all these things are happening. We should have a proper training of children inside a school that these are the traffic rules. You have to follow this. And this should be, there every 3rd month, every 5th month, so that they should learn what is the traffic rules. Another thing is that we have already addressed our all AOAs that there should be a speed limit board and there should be, speed breakers inside colony. But what is happening actually, these young drivers, they do not follow, they do not listen anybody. Their thrill is more. If you are 20-year-old, you are even talking on mobile, you are driving, your speed is also in 3rd gear, You are not able to control that. Somebody is coming in front of you. You are hitting them. So this is all happening. Once you are 50 years of age, you don't drive fast. But if you are 20 years of age, you drive fast. This is all psychological. So we have to make training very sincere to all our school children so that they should not commit these kind of mistakes. This is what I can say.
Okay.
And
So essentially
inside
you're saying
society,
so you're saying
inside
that
society,
we are reckless drivers outside, and it is obvious that if we are reckless drivers on outside roads, we will be reckless drivers even within our colony roads. That's essentially what you're saying.
is what I'm saying. So because we are not punished outside, that is why we are committing the same mistake inside also. If there is nobody to govern us, you go on the road, you always, every day, you are going to face some kind of accident. If you are not serious in driving, you will face some kind of accident everywhere.
But if you see reckless driving, no, Professor Sarhai, but if you see reckless driving within your own colony, you will stop and check the person, right? My point is, even when you stop and check, are people willing to listen?
This is a very good wake-up call for everybody. Right now, you have audience from across the country. And this is a good wake-up call to all and serious wake-up call to all. That we should have speed governors, we should have boards, we should have speed breakers. Then only we can save people. Otherwise, so far as reckless driving is concerned, we are not able to change the psychology of the people for the last 50, 20 years.
Okay. More callers this evening. Rajesh Palha is calling us from Bhiwandi. Okay, let me quickly take in some callers as well now. Rajesh Palha, you're calling us from Bhiwandi. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Rajesh Palha. I'm calling from Ashiana Utsav Bhiwadi, a senior living complex. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm calling from a senior citizen complex, Ashiana Utsav Bhiwadi. What I'm seeing on your TV, the program, I see that I have a different view. We residents are responsible for this. I see, because it's a senior citizen complex, average age is 70 plus here, people staying. But when their grandchildren come, they take them for the driving lessons within the complex. And if you tell them, you stop them, they come fighting with you. So who are you to stop? As far as the resident associations are concerned, I think they are good for nothing, sitting in the office only fighting with the service provider for their own interests. And we have had 2 or 3 cases where you have stopped certain people from telling their children are not allowed, grandchildren, this is not a driving license, the course where you can teach them. Your cars are being scratched. Your bonnets are being scratched. So I will not blame this driver particularly. I'll blame we residents when we say, because what has happened when one person says, other says, "Arey, tumko kya zarurat hai yaar? Jo chal raha hai, chalne do na." And the association office bearers also keep an quiet, depending on with whom they get along and whom they don't get along. So the problem lies with the residents.
Okay.
If residents are very careful and vocal, without saying that mere ki isse banti hai, isse nahi banti, usko bolo, so I think these things can be controlled within a limited complex areas.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling us. Mangesh, you're calling us from Bangalore. Go ahead, please.
Points actually. I never drove in India. When I started my career, I went to US. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? See, I never drove in India.
I can hear you loud and clear,
in my early
Mangesh.
career, I went to United States and I started driving there. So my behavior is like rules to be followed strictly. Both the mirrors or 3 mirrors can be watched all the time. And at the same time, actually, I can see in many developed nations, whenever there is a school or a residential complex, the speed limit can be strictly followed. But in India, people are more arrogant. They don't feel like they are a responsible citizen of this country. And like US, there is a credit history or a driving history. Where is the driving history in India to be monitored? People don't get, if your driving history is bad, actually you won't get any license or any home loan, bank loan or anything else. You are trapped there. But in India, such driver should not get even car loan in near future. He should not be able to drive for at least 10, 15 years. So I think I will not blame anybody here. Here is the problem with our Indian people are becoming more arrogant. They don't feel responsible citizens. Third is people need more counseling before buying cars or before taking all those things. We need more public and people need really, counseling. Even educated people behave like illiterate while driving. They are under the influence of not only liquor, they are under the influence of WhatsApp university. What is there in mind? Nothing is controlling. So politicians need to be done. Many areas speed breakers are not there, and wherever there is a speed breaker is not required, there are hump or mountain kind of a speed breakers are there. So it's all, actually I can say it's a maze. A lot of people are responsible for this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, there are more callers. Unfortunately, I've completely run out of time. Let me see if I can take Pratyot Das, who's calling us from Calcutta. Pratyot, go ahead. Pratyot will be the last caller, ladies and gentlemen, that we'll take. Apologies to all of you who've been waiting to speak to us. But if this is an issue that persists, we'll open up our phone lines once again. Pratyot, please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Actually, I could see most of the speakers as well as the panelists, what they were talking of. These are the basic summary of all my points. And quickly touching on the points. Basically, we require more stringent application of rules and regulations, and also forming few more stringent laws and ensuring they are implemented. Number one. Number two, sensitization among the people. And sensitization does not mean that only to the youngsters. I take the senior lot also equally responsible for that. They need to get through the sensitization. Thirdly. Yeah, please.
No, I think you make very good points. And I think what has come through in this show is that, yes, the driver is at fault for speeding and speaking on his phone while inside a residential colony where the elderly walk and the children play. Many of our residents have also pointed out to the fact that people who are walking or letting their children play on colony roads when they know that cars ply here, they need to be careful and cognizant of the environment as well. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, this video is easily available. It will be available on our Twitter handle as well. Put it out on your WhatsApp group and let everyone see what happens when you drive rashly, whether inside your gated colony or outside. You could end up killing someone. You could end up being behind bars, charged with murder. I hope this is a cautionary tale. We'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you to our guests who joined us this evening, and apologies to our viewers who had called us, but we couldn't take your call because I do have to slip into a very quick break. Up next, we are talking about what is happening in Gaza. Do stay with us.